commences, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the land of the Bidjigal and the Gadigal people who occupied the Sydney coast, being the traditional owners. On behalf of Randwick Local Planning Panel, I acknowledge and pay my respects to the elders past and present and the Aboriginal people. Good afternoon and welcome to the Randwick Local Planning Panel meeting of the 21st of May 2026. I'm the chair of the panel and my name is Claude Walsh. Also sitting today are Awais Paracha and David Epstein as the expert members and Laurie O'Connell as the community member on the panel. Prior to the commencement of this meeting, all panel members were requested to sign a declaration of interest in relation to each matter on the agenda. I can confirm that all declarations of interest have been received and that no conflicts were identified. The signed declarations of interest will be available to view through Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. Do any of the panel members have any further matters to declare?
No.
And I have no matters to declare either. Today we have 4 items on the agenda, and there are 2 speakers registered for the first item and 1 speaker respectively for the second, third and fourth items. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the panel and a bell will ring, and then they will be expected to finish up their address within the following 2 minutes. The panel has been provided with copies of all the submissions received in response to the public exhibition of the applications. Therefore, there is no need for speakers to repeat all of the points made in those submissions. Speakers should focus on the key matters they wish us to understand and consider, including any suggestions about how their concerns could be resolved. The applicant may wish to comment on issues raised in the Council's report, provide a response to proposed conditions and/or address any issues raised by an objector. After the speaker has addressed the panel, panel members may ask the speaker questions to clarify any matters. Only registered speakers will be allowed to speak and respond to questions from the panel. Any person using defamatory or offensive language may be asked to leave the meeting, or the meeting may be adjourned. An audio recording is being made of this meeting, and we ask the speakers use the microphone on their device when addressing the panel to ensure that their comments are recorded. The audio recording will be available through Council's website by tomorrow afternoon. After all registered speakers have been heard, the panel will deliberate and vote on each matter in a closed session. So the first speaker that I have in relation to the first item, 960 Anzac Parade, Maroubra, I have Thomas Holt, who's an objector.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. My name's Tom Holt, and I'm the owner of 966 Anzac Parade in Maroubra. We've lodged a formal submission on this application. So to begin with, we must recognise the reality. The comprehensive redevelopment of the transit corridor stretching from the Juniors Club down to Fitzgerald Avenue is inevitable. Sitting firmly within the state-mandated transport-orientated development catchment, this strip is destined for high-density transformation. The real question before the panel today is not if it should redevelop, but how we set a framework in motion today that maximises housing yield, optimises livability and protects neighbourhood amenity. Piecemeal single lot applications are not the answer. We urge the panel to uphold the staff's recommendation for absolute refusal of DA 176/2026. As the assessment report details, building in this fragmented manner creates an intolerable interface conflict which permanently isolates Tubing Street, failing the lot amalgamation protocols of Council's own 2023 urban design framework. However, refusing this application only treats the symptom. The root cause is a legacy zoning map that is fundamentally out of sync with the TOD framework. Restricting the block from Juniors on the junction to 960 Anzac Parade to R3 medium density creates a clear financial barrier. It fails to provide the economic viability required for genuine multi-lot amalgamation, inevitably forcing developers into these haphazard single lot shortcuts. Compounding this failure, the current map completely maroons the block from 962 through to 984 Anzac Parade inside an artificial R2 low-density island. If you zoom out to examine Figure 6, the zoning map from Council's papers, we are sandwiched between higher density to our north and an R3 zone to our south at Fitzgerald Avenue. 980 and 982 Anzac Parade, directly south of Kitchener Street, remains mapped at R2 despite physically containing long-established multi-residential flats. This artificial zoning cliff failed both the reality of our street and modern state housing policy. To achieve orderly and economic planning, Council should fix this corridor through a comprehensive council-led planning proposal to establish a unified stepped precinct master plan. We propose upgrading the immediate Anzac Parade frontage from the Juniors Club all the way down to Fitzgerald Avenue to a uniform R4 high-density zone. To prevent site isolation and provide vital depth for proper setbacks, the R4 footprint should logically absorb the immediate rear depth lots on Byng Street and Kitchener Street. While we leave precise boundaries to Council's strategic team, the underlying principle is clear. This master plan precinct approach eliminates isolated single lot DAs, protects the low density core via step transition, and unlocks a high amenity corridor yielding upwards of 300 premium dwellings to meet Randwick's state mandated target of 4,000 new dwellings by 2029. Please refuse this isolated proposal today and instead initiate the coordinated precinct master plan this corridor deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just check if there are any. Did you have any questions? No. Did you? No, I didn't have any questions either. Thank you for coming along today. The next speaker is Tierney Marie.
Hello, my name is Tierney Mare, and I'm speaking today as the representative for my parents, Dana and Jean-Michel Mare, who are residents of Byng Street, one of the streets that stands to be directly impacted by this proposed development. My family have been long enmeshed in the local community. I was a Maroubra resident for 22 years, 18 of which was spent in Byng Street. I was one of the inaugural members of the Randwick City Youth Council, and I volunteered for over a decade for local Girl Guide units. My mother is a Randwick Girls High School alumna, Bowen Library's biggest fan, and supports local primary school public speaking and debating. My father is a handyman, servicing local residents and volunteering, coordinating community sport. Now, I state this context because it matters, because I want to be clear that my parents are no strangers to change. They've seen it firsthand over the 35 years that they've lived in Byng Street, and they aren't opposed to development, much like the previous speaker. What they are is committed to thoughtful and sustainable decision making for this community, and to Tom's point, one that isn't haphazard but holistic. They see it as a privilege to have a voice in this community's future, and my father led the community petition opposing this development application, which gathered over 188 signatures. This wasn't a passive response. It reflects the time and effort many in their busy lives have invested to truly understand and respond to what's being proposed for their community. Put simply, this application raises three fundamental concerns. The first, it's non-compliant. The second, it's not well considered. And the third, it's not an appropriate fit for the community. The application's non-compliant. It fails to meet the basic planning standards for this site, such as building height, floor space ratio. It fails to comply with guidance and objectives regarding parking and transport, sustainable growth, waste management, and environmental impact. The application is not well considered. It fails to meaningfully address numerous critical considerations, including site suitability, design quality, and infrastructure. It fails significantly to provide robust evidence and information in its application across multiple elements, including really core components, plans, infrastructures, assessments, modeling. It's also not an appropriate fit for the community. It fails to meet the actual housing needs of the local area, provide a variety of housing options, and it doesn't fit with the streetscape or neighborhood character. It fails to provide meaningful, affordable housing, and indeed appears to attempt to leverage planning provisions in a way that is misaligned with the positive intent of those controls. Taken together, the extent of non-compliance and insufficient consideration across this proposal reflects its holistic failure in due diligence and raises serious concerns about the overall approach that was taken. If accepted, it really sets a concerning precedent that established controls and guidelines, and the future view of this community can be simply overridden in the favor of one development application, and I urge the panel to refuse this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just check if there are any questions. Did you have a question? No, I didn't have any questions either. Thank you for coming along and addressing us today. When we've heard from the other speakers, we'll move into closed session, make our determination and our reasons. Our determination and reasons will be placed on the council website. Thank you. So the next item is 263 and 265 Darley Road, Randwick. I have the applicant registered, Christopher Collicott.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, Christopher here and my wife Fiona. We are aware and support the Planning Director of Randwick Council's submission to the RLPP that we defer today's consideration of our DAs to enable us more time to further consult with council and neighbours on our designs. On that basis, we have not submitted written materials today that we have prepared for the RLPP. I will pause there. I am happy to discuss the matter further, but I believe that proposal has been put before the panel.
The proposal for deferral?
Yes.
Yes. So we haven't made a decision about whether to grant that deferral or not. Would you be able to elaborate a bit more on the reasons for the deferral?
I can, yes. So I might just share my screen because I think we've only got a few minutes. So essentially, can you all see that?
No.
There you go. So in a nutshell, I'll go through this quickly, but in a nutshell, I'll share a brief moment of our journey today and then the reasons for the deferral. So I'll come back to this if we need to, but essentially we've been working with council over several years to find a refined design solution to resolving the challenges that we face on our street. The two designs that you see in the image below you are the culmination of about 4 years of discussions with council and our neighbours to develop an integrated response to the streetscape concerns raised, blending both the wall in the community with contemporary designs that will both add quality and uplift the overall experience for both residents, neighbours, and the community as a whole. The reason why we're putting these designs forward and they need more work is that the RLPP submission from the council suggests that all of these design considerations were taken into consideration last year, which is in fact incorrect. When the council explored this with DAP 12 months ago, they only looked at tunnelling through the wall. They did not look at the wall removal, and the case was made that they didn't want piecemeal design. So what we've done over the last few years is work with 265, ourselves, and also 239 and 241 in order to create an integrated solution to the challenges that council have suggested arise within this area. Further to this, we find that the content of the RLP submission from the council is ill-founded, based on a concern over precedent, future precedent, which we do not believe is a.
Sorry, that was the 3-minute bell, so you have another 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. And the issue around heritage, which was conclusively resolved during 2024 LEC meeting with Ryder and the council. Secondly, the design issues raised by council are all completely curable around stair location, garage widths, treescape, and trees and landscaping. And we find over 20 material information faults within the report submitted so far to the panel in the last week or so. Examples of where this is the case is the heritage finding that we just mentioned, the fact that there is a net gain to our canopy of additional 3 trees that would come, and some of those would come in line with the council's master planting plan, and the fact that key material information was omitted or left out of the report that was put for you. The final point is that, in fact, we had very strong local support, and we've had no objections, including the two submissions made by 267 and 261A are in fact not objections, and that has been clarified in the email from 267 in recent months. So that's the basis for the request for the deferral so that we can continue to work through these designs with council to resolve them more fully. And, you know, without playing the videos now, you can see that there is an immediate and pressing concern with access to our homes and those of our neighbours. So with that in mind, we request deferral for further time to consult with council.
So I'll just check if there are any questions. Did you have any questions? Did you have any questions? No, thank you for coming along today. We'll consider your request when we deal with all the matters in the closed session at the end of the meeting. So the next item is 239 Darley Road, Randwick. The speaker I have registered is the applicant, Steve Solomon.
Yes, thank you everyone for today. I'm echoing what Chris said. As you would have seen, we have a joint application that pertains to my property at 239, my neighbour's property at 241, and the properties at the other side of the wall, 236 and 265. So I'd like to reiterate that we're aware of and support the planning director's advice that the submission of council to the RLPP today be deferred and considerations of the DA continue in due course to allow us further time for design consultations on and ongoing with council. So on that basis, we have not submitted the written materials, and much of what Chris has covered is all applicable to my DA there at 239.
Thank you. I'll just check. Did you have any questions? I didn't have any questions. Thank you. The last item is 241 Darley Road, Randwick, and the applicant registered to speak is Mick Bowman.
Good afternoon, panel. Thanks for the introduction there, and thanks, Chris, for speaking so eloquently. As you know, we are in direct alignment of that same narrative, which is very much we are aware of and support the Planning Director of Randwick Council's submission to the RLPP to defer today's consideration of our DA to enable us to continue to further work with council and consult on what our DA and what our development should look like. On that basis, we've not submitted the written materials that we had prepared for the RLPP, nor are our experts present on today's call to represent us. I would also like to kind of just build on what Chris was saying around the significant safety issues that our families suffer on Darley Road. And they are the same on the western side of the wall as well. And again, we've got significant kind of evidence of that as well.
Thank you. Sorry, are you still going?
No, back to the panel.
Sorry, I just think you were just fading in and out. Are you close to your microphone?
Yes, I am. Are you having, what part did you miss? Sorry, Chair.
It was about a minute, I think.
West of the wall.
West of the wall. Oh, we can see the photo.
Yeah, so I mean, I can pin that up on wall at the moment. Effectively, this is the DA that we're talking about for DA 77 and 79. I assume that everyone can see that on screen at the moment. Yeah. So where we're displaying on the left here, the current streetscape, and on the right is a proposed streetscape across the development, where we're showing significant increases in kind of landscape benefits and obviously a significant positive impact on the streetscape and urban design here at the development. Us too on the western side of the wall, because these four properties are on either side of the bookends of the wall. On the western side, you can see here displayed on screen at the moment the significant safety issues that we encounter on a daily basis as a family unit, which is a big form of our representation at council and why we continue to work further in the background with them.
Sorry, are you still speaking?
No, I'm not speaking.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear anything. Okay, so did you have anything else?
Did you hear what I said, or like I'm?
No, I think you just concluded his.
You just concluded.
Yeah.
I'll just check if there are any questions. Did you have any?
No.
No, but thank you. Well, we'll consider those three, the deferral request for those three matters when we're going to closed session, and our decision with reasons will be placed on the website. That concludes the matters in the public meeting. In accordance with the panel guidelines adopted at the panel meeting on the 13th of December 2018, the public meeting will now be closed and the panel will deliberate and vote on each matter in a closed session. The outcomes from voting and determination will be made available through Council's website in the following days, and an audio recording of the public meeting will also be made available through Council's website. So I declare the meeting closed at 1:20 p.m.